Hello, and welcome to another lesson from Level Up Mathematics. In today's lesson, we will be exploring algebraic expressions and equations. Let's start with a couple of definitions. An expression is a mathematical phrase that contains numbers, variables, and operation symbols. Expressions do not contain equal signs. So an algebraic expression is a single term or a set of terms that are separated by addition or subtraction. Now, as an example, we have an algebraic expression shown below, and that expression is 5n minus 12. And what they want us to do here is label all the parts of this algebraic expression. So let's start with the 5. The 5 is said to be the coefficient of the variable. In other words, it's the number that's multiplied by the variable. The n is called the variable. A variable is just a letter that stands in place of a number. This minus, this is our operation symbol. So you could have plus or minus there. It'd still be an operation symbol. The 12 is another term, but this is a special term called the constant term. That's because it does not have a variable attached to it. So if you see a number that does not have a variable attached to it, it's called the constant term. Now, this expression 5n is simply a term of the expression. And the whole thing is called the expression. Notice that it's an expression because there are no equal signs in this expression, 5n minus 12. Now, an equation is a mathematical statement that shows two expressions are equal. An equation must contain an equal sign. If it does not contain an equal sign, it's not an equation. All right, example 1. Verbal phrases can be translated into expressions and equations using keywords. Review the different ways mathematical operations can be written verbally. List as many synonyms as you can think of in the columns below. So let's start by looking at addition. What are some words in math problems that indicate to you that addition is being performed? So I'm thinking of words like sum. The sum of 2 and 3 is 5. Sum meaning addition. We could see the phrase more than. That means addition. Added to. Combined. Total. Things like these indicate addition. Now, let's talk about subtraction. For subtraction, I think of the word difference. The difference of 10 and 8 is 2. Difference. Let's see. We could just say subtracted from. Let's see. Less than. Excuse me, I spelled difference wrong. Let's see, multiplication. We could use the word product. The product of 2 and 4 is 8. Let's see, what else could we use for multiplication? Times. 2 times 4 is 8. This one, twice, indicates multiplication. It means to multiply the number by 2. All right, division. We have quotient, divided by, split, equally, shared, things like that indicate division. For equals, we have the same as, is equal to, or even just the word is indicates equals. Now, turnaround words are special words when we're translating verbal phrases. There are two turnaround words, the word than and the word from. For right now, just write them down and I'll show you how to identify turnaround words and how to use turnaround words. So we have two turnaround words, than and from. All right, look at example 2. Highlight or circle any turnaround words and then write an algebraic expression or equation to represent each verbal phrase below. So in problem A, we have 5 more than a number. So here's a turnaround word. And what this turnaround word does, when you have a turnaround, it means whatever number came first is going to go at the end of the phrase instead of the beginning. So we're going to use the letter N for a number. So we have N, a number, and we want 5 more than that. So that means we would have to add 5 to the number. So 5 more than a number would simply be N plus 5. All right, B, the difference between a number and 5. Now, in this problem, there's no turnaround words, so we can translate it directly. The difference means subtraction, and that means we're going to subtract a number and 5. So N minus 5. The difference between a number and 5 can be translated as N minus 5. C, the product of a number and 4. Now remember, product means times. So here we're multiplying a number times 4. So the number is N, we're multiplying that by 4. Now, generally, when we're talking about multiplication and when you have a variable, the coefficient needs to go first. So N times 4 is equivalent to 4N. This first phrase is not wrong. It's just more conventionally written as 4 times N or 4N. All right. Problem D, 6 less than a number. Well, I see a turnaround word here because we have a than. So that means this 6 has to go at the end of your phrase. So we have a number and we want 6 less than that. So that would be minus 6. All right. E, 1/2 a number is 12. So 1/2 of a number would be 1/2 N. And then for is, that's equals, and then 12. So 1/2 of a number is 12. 1/2 N equals 12. All right. The product of a number and 5 is 14. So the way we write the product of a number and 5 is 5 times N, or 5N. For is, we'll put equals, and it equals 14. So this says 5 times a number is 14. G, 3 less than a number is 8. So we've got this than, that's a turnaround word. So we want a number minus 3. That's 3 less than a number. Is, so that's equal to 8. 3 less than a number, N minus 3, is or equals 8. H, twice a number is 3. So twice a number would be 2 times N, or 2N. For is, we put equals, and that equals 3. I, the quotient of a number and 3. Well, that would be N divided by 3. J, the sum of a number and 2 is 6. All right, so n plus 2 would be the sum of a number and 2. For is, we'll put equals and then 6. K, the product of a number and 3 is 12. So 3n, the product of 3 and a number would be 3n, is equals 12. All right. L, 10 subtracted from a number. So circle this turnaround word from. 10 subtracted from a number. Now the turnaround word means the 10 is going to go at the end. So n minus 10 means 10 subtracted from a number, n minus 10. Example 3. Translate each verbal phrase and then tell whether the phrase is an expression or equation. So in our first verbal phrase, we have the sum of W and 7. So remember, sum is a key word for addition. So W plus 7. Is this an expression or an equation? Well, that's easy to tell. You just ask yourself, is there an equal sign? In this case, no, there is no equal sign. So this must be an expression. Okay. Next verbal phrase. The product of 8 and W is 12. So the product of 8 and W would be 8W. For is, we would put equals and then 12. Now, this problem contains an equals, so it must be an equation. Next phrase. The difference of a number and 10 is 37. So difference means subtraction. So n minus 10 is or equals to 37. Well, this problem has an equation, or an equal sign, so we could say it's an equation. All right, pause the video and try the last 4 verbal phrases on your own. When you're ready to check your answer, press play. All right, welcome back. Let's see how you did. The product of 7 and a number minus 60. So the product of 7 and a number is 7n. Minus would be subtract, and then they want you to subtract 60. So this was an expression. Next one, 3 is equal to, so 3 is equal to twice a number, so 2n. So this would be an equation. Okay, next one, 4 times a number, so that would be 4n, is equal to 24. So this was an equation. 8 less than twice a number. Now I hope you noticed the turnaround word. That means the 8 is going to go at the end. So twice a number is 2n and then minus 8. And this was an expression. And that concludes today's lesson, Algebraic Expressions and Equations.